With everybody. And good morning and happy Friday. Thank you all for being here with us this morning. This is our last meeting of the year because 2 Fridays from now will be Christmas Eve and our office will be closed. I'll be available if anybody needs me because I'll be around, but we won't be having a meeting. And so I wanted to make sure we got together, and especially because this morning around 8:30 we got the desert housing report for November. So I want to make sure we go over that, review it with everybody. So if anyone's got any questions, we can talk about it to get you guys ready for the holidays. So first off, we'll start with, we have some guests here, and I don't want to call them guests because they're part of the fam, but Catherine and Dawn are here. Do you ladies have anything you want to share with us? Maybe we'll start with Catherine.
No, I'm just so grateful as always to be here. And kind of like I said, was it Wednesday? I feel like the days are blending together. Just so grateful for a really robust and just awesome 2022. I am very much looking forward to 2023 because the last few months have certainly been interesting to say the least. But I think there's so much opportunity, and I think it's really important that we remember that there is so much opportunity. And more importantly, I think our team just really wants everyone to understand where we fit into the puzzle and how we can help grow and elevate business. And yeah, no, we're so grateful to you, Stephanie. And if there's anything you need, please pick up the phone and call us.
Awesome. Thank you. How about you, Dawn? Anything else you want to add? I know Catherine said it all there, but like, is there anything else you want to add?
Sorry, Dawn. And apparently we're getting the Cheeto the cheetah memo today. Both of us are like in like leopard. Anyway,
sorry. At this point, we're together so much. No, I second everything that Catherine said. We obviously are extremely grateful for all of the relationships. Please remember, if you need us, we're Your Title Partners at firstam.com, and you can always text us anything that you ever need. We're always here for you. So thank you so much, Stephanie.
Absolutely. It's so funny, ladies. Anytime anybody asks for your number in the office, I go over and grab a notepad and just tear a sheet off and give it to them. So those things are worth a million to me. They make it really easy because I always have one on my desk. So anyway, thank you for that. And thank you, ladies, for being here this morning. So I think what we'll do is jump right into it. And I'm just going to go over a couple pages of the desert housing report. I'll be candid, since I was at an inspection this morning at 7 a.m. and this email came in at 8:30, and I've been getting ready for the meeting and getting myself ready for the day. I have only had a few moments to browse through it. So you guys are going to kind of go through it with me as you know, as I read it when I'm sitting at my desk looking at it for the first time. I've looked at a couple pages of it, but not the entire thing. So we'll get into it. If you guys have anything you want to bring up or go into, feel free to type it in the chat or just start talking and chat, because there's only a couple of us on. Feel free to just jump in. And let me see if I can figure out how to share my screen to that page. There we go. Where did it go? Let's see. I think I've got it up over here. Oh boy. All right, let me go find it again. Sorry about that, guys. So what I will share with you is that actually, as I'm going back to look for it again and searching in my email, there was a I'm coming back from the CAR leadership conference, which is for anybody who's going to be a chair or vice chair of a committee at CAR next year. And they had Adam Levine is our chief economist who took over for Leslie Appleton Young. For anybody that's been around for a while, you would have heard her name, but she retired last year. So Adam did the housing report, and I'll be candid, it was actually more bleak than our local housing report. He talked about the fact that, you know, we do have this recession coming, and that it was just a little more, not gloom and doom, but it was just not as positive as what we've heard in the desert from our local housing reports that we've had at the conferences that we've had, and from the just from the conversations that we've been having with our local economists that have talked about what's going to be happening in the desert and what the expectation is for the effect of the recession on us here in the desert. And it just reminded me that we really have to be careful that when our clients are watching the news, that they're hearing stuff about what's going on nationwide. And as a matter of fact, I was just on what was I on yesterday? I don't even remember what it was, but I was listening to something and they were talking. Oh, I know. I was on the, I was listening to the investment committee for CDAR. I was listening to the person who handles the investments for CDAR, the local association, and they were sharing with us what's happening in the economy. And she said, if you listen to the news, you would think we're in a recession right now. But the definition of a recession is negative gross domestic product for 2 quarters in a row. And last quarter we had positive, and last month it was positive. The month before that wasn't, but we don't even have a full quarter yet. And we're not leaning into it because last month was positive again. And so there's a recession coming, but if you were to listen to the news, you'd think we were already in one. And it's just really your reminder to be the local economist, not just of our area, but of your own neighborhood. Know your comps, know your numbers, know how much prices are down. We're going to go over some numbers today on this thing that I just found. So I'm going to pull it up and share my screen now. But as we go through these numbers, I want you to take all of this into account, that there's some different information for the different cities in the desert. But you should know the numbers for your particular neighborhood as well. And so if any of you ever want to pull comps, or you do pull comps and you want to send them to me or send them to Josh, or Josh is really amazing at it. And I know I always say that, but he's really good at helping to price properties. And I feel like I know the East Valley really well. If you're doing something in the East Valley or even in an HOA or a golf course community, I can definitely help you with those. But we all have our specialties, but if you ever want one of us to run comps with you, let's say you're going to run comps on your neighborhood, just send them over to us, copy both of us, copy all of us, or any of us, and we'll all run our own numbers and just see how see what we come up with. Because I think it's always interesting to have another set of eyes on it. Personally, when I run numbers, I always like to have somebody else give me their opinion on what they think about for that area. And you want to make sure you do that in a safe space, so you're not giving your information away to a competitor. You have to be careful about that. So we're always here to help and happy to help with it. So we'll get into the November Desert Housing Report. We're going to just kind of look at the summary here first. The median price of a detached home in the Coachella Valley fell last month and is currently $649. It's still up 5.5% over last year, but the monthly decline is not seasonal. That is not normally what the direction that prices go in. So it's against the grain of what we normally see this time. The latest price is now 8.6 below the peak a few months ago. And so it's just something to be aware of, something for you guys to pay attention to. I suggest you run the numbers in all of your neighborhoods where you've got listings and just double check and see what's happening there. The median price for attached homes in November was $450, which is down for the 6th month. And so those have been coming down just slightly for the last 2 quarters. Only one city, and again, it's Coachella, the Coachella that we've been talking about, that's got that year-over-year gain above 20%. Palm Desert and Palm Springs have smallest gains at 3%, and attached market gains range from 32 to 5 down to 5.1. So again, I want you guys to run those numbers on all of your neighborhoods. What we're seeing here is what we've been talking about for the last little bit. We are going to see prices dip a touch. And again, not in every neighborhood. So just be aware of that. You again want to be paying really close attention. If I were farming a neighborhood consistently right now, I would want to be pulling that information, if not daily, where you're looking at a hot sheet to see everything that's coming on. And everything that's closing and what's happening, but also just pull the numbers for yourself and run a CMA no less than every Friday, no less than every week or every Monday, whatever your timing is that you want to do it, but no less than once a week, so that you're making sure you really are paying close attention to what's happening. And look at those pending numbers. When the pending changes, you can start to see what's going to happen with the closing, right? And so look at where the active is versus the pending versus the closed, and you'll start to be able to see the pattern for what the changes that's coming. When you see those pending numbers shift, when they go lower than the active, then you know prices are coming down. When they go higher than the active, then you know prices are coming up. And so just pay attention to that, and you can start to see what's happening in your particular neighborhood. We see home sales are continuing to decline as far as the number of units that are coming, that are being sold every month. The 3-month average of sales in November was 474, and that's 41% less than last year. So fewer homes are selling now. What that's telling me with you guys that we need to be doing is making sure we're having really solid conversations with our sellers. And it's not going to be nearly as quick as it used to be. This is it's a shifted market. It's already shifting. It's in the process of it, but we've definitely come off of the peak. And so those conversations you're having with your sellers, you need to get real with them. You need to explain to them where we're at. And there's actually some other good information coming up here that we're going to share with you that I think will be really helpful in your conversations with sellers. Your November sales averaged 700 units per month. So sales are running 32% below average. Every city has lower sales now compared to a year ago. The largest percentage in declines are La Quinta at 54% and Cathedral City at 46, Rancho Mirage at 45. And Palm Springs and Palm Desert are not too far behind with 43. And Indio is still holding pretty strong, but still had a 25% decline in the number of units sold. So again, for you, those of you who are listing agents, and even those of you who are not, any conversations you can have with a seller about what their next move is, what does it look like, where are they going to go, and why they should make a move now. You really got to get into that why with them. And this is where your skill set as an agent becomes really important. I just shared with you guys that Portia and I are working on this deal, and we've had this thing fall apart 3 or 4 times. Yesterday, we got an email from the HOA docs, and there's a short-term vacation rental restriction that we thought wasn't there. And so we had to walk the client through it. All of it is about your ability to have a conversation with a client and keep them moving through those processes and helping them to work through it. In that particular case, we just walked her through how she was actually going to rent the property and what that was going to look like for her. And she realized in that moment that she really didn't need to have the short-term vacation rental permit in order to be able to rent it the way she truly wanted to rent it. And so the better you guys can get at those conversations where you're talking to your sellers about how they're going to move, where they're going to move, what the process is going to look like, how you're going to help them through it. That's really what's holding a lot of people back right now. Other than if they have to get a loan, they don't necessarily want to take that loan out at the higher interest rate. But we're seeing rates still at a pretty palatable place. And so rerunning those numbers and asking the client, have you had an opportunity to see what rate you qualify for today? Because if you know what you would qualify for 6 months ago or 3 months ago, we need to go back and or even a month ago, we need to go back and look at that number, and let's get on the line with the lender so we can have that conversation. If they're doing cash, it's a whole lot simpler. They're still sitting at a really high equity rate, and we do not want to wait until the market comes down any further. Let's make that move now. And you really have to help counsel them through where they're going to go next. And I hope that you guys are sitting and having those in-depth conversations with your clients, really learning about what is the need, why are we selling, and what's the next step. And if you're having challenges with those conversations, come back and role play those with me. Get as much information as you can and come back and play the client with me and let me help you work through how to get them through that conversation. Because this is the time, guys. We've been talking about honing our skills for a while now. This is the time that you need them. Those axes need to be sharp because you need to be able to cut through those objections, like a hot knife. And if you're not practicing those conversations and how you're going to work your way through them, you're going to fumble them while you're, sitting at the table with the client. And so you just want to make sure you're really role playing those. And and taking the time. We have to go a little bit slower than we did a couple months ago. So let's talk about inventory real quick. On December 1st, Valley inventory stood at 2,048 units. I have to tell you, when I read that this morning, like my heart just smiled. I'm so happy to see that we're above 2,000 units. It's 1,400 units more than last year at this time. So for those of you who have buyers that you're representing and buyers you've been trying to find homes for, please make sure, again, you're calling them, reach out to everybody who you couldn't sell a house to in the last 2 or 3 years and just double check to see where they're at now, because that inventory is coming back again, and it is wonderful. Catherine, I see you raised your hand. Please step in so I can stop talking for a sec. You're muted.
Sorry, the mute button keeps going on and off. My apologies. I wanted to make sure. I'm only seeing slide 3. Are you still on summary 3? Is that, or did you?
Yeah,
okay.
I'm inventory. I'm right here.
Thank you. Okay. I apologize. I had, okay. Thank you.
No, that's okay. That's okay. No, I know it's hard. Sometimes you get a little lost in here, but yeah, we're at this 2,048 units. It's 1,400 more than last year. The Valley increase, this monthly increase again is opposite to most other California regions where we're seeing inventory come down. And this it's because of seasonality. That's normally how it works. So we're a little bit opposite of a lot of those other areas. The Valley's months of sales ratios was 2.8 months, which again is higher than last month. The ratio continues to run below 4 months, which is normal for this time of year. That's really good information for your sellers that we still have we don't have a glut of inventory. We still have a need for inventory on the market, and there's still not enough homes for the buyers that are out there looking. And then days on market, this one I think is really important for your sellers, guys. At the end of November, the median number of days in the market throughout the Valley was 35 days. And if you look down here, we've been saying it for a while, but they're really expecting it to come back to 50 or 60 days. So if your client needs to be moved by March, we need to be on the market by January 1st. Right? Like we gotta make things happen. So it's really, and again, you need to check the days on market for the neighborhoods you're working. Make sure that you're pulling up those, calculating what that looks like for active pending, and then you look at the close and see where it actually ends up. How many days does it take to get an offer? That's where you go look at the active under contracts, and then you go look at the pendings. How many days does it take to get through the contingency removal process? And then how many days is it actually taking to come to close? That will be very helpful information, especially when your seller is asking you at 1 or 2 weeks why you don't have any offers yet. You can show them that days on market, and we're still well within the time frame where we shouldn't necessarily, we after 10 showings we should have an offer. But if we don't have 10 showings, we may need to look at where we're priced, and we may need to look at the other conditions of the property and if there's something else that we need to change about it. I just watched somebody make some very simple changes to a bathroom vanity, and they increased the price of the house by $10,000 just by making, and they changed out the mirror, the light fixture, the faucet, the sink, and the cabinet. That was all they changed in the bathroom. It was a little 48-inch cabinet, and they increased the price of the house by $10,000. So just I don't know. I mean, there's little adjustments that can be made to the property that can make a difference, and you might want to take a look at those. If you really are wanting to stay on that lower end of the days on market, the property needs to be in great condition as well. That's another thing that we're seeing. And then for price discounts, there's a 17.5% of sales occurred above list price compared to 44.2 a year ago. That's another really important conversation to be having with your sellers, that we're seeing about 20%, over 20%, 25% fewer homes come in over asking price. And so just be prepared for that. Like the number that we're coming in at, and it's again all about how you price it. If you're pricing it, conservatively, then it'll probably go quicker. If you're pricing it where you're asking for a little more, it may take a little bit more time to move that property. And it depends on the type of property. Sometimes you need to wait for that right buyer to come into town. It just depends on so many different details. But if you've got questions on any of that with your particular listings, or you have a listing that's not moving, come chat with me. Also chat with Josh. I know he's been really sick, but he is available for Zoom meetings and telephone calls. Chat with him about where else we can place that property and what else we might be able to do to help you get some more action on it. So I think you guys know I love the summary page. I think that's the most important page in this, because it talks about really just kind of a really great overview of what's happening in the Coachella Valley. I was really kind of looking at, because Coachella still got that 20% increase, I was just kind of looking at what the reasons might be. And again, it is a relatively smaller square footage, but it also means that it's one of those types of properties that a lot of people are looking for. And throughout the Coachella Valley, if you look at the price per square foot, you've got 289, just right around 290. It's still really low compared to the rest of the Coachella Valley. And there's just still a lot of people in that area that there's not enough homes. There's a shortage of homes, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And so I feel like that's probably why they're still seeing that 20% increase. And you can see that again down here at the bottom of this page. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop there, because I feel like I've already talked way too much. But do any of you guys that are on the call with us today have any other input or questions about this stuff, or how do you feel about it? What are you guys seeing out in the field right now? Eric, do you have any feedback for us?
I just wanted to say that you did a great job, and every point that you made was relevant, and you're always give such good. And I always tell you that you always make great statements. And right now, I'm frustrated because I have two listings, and it looks like 1985 in both of them, and it's the gentleman that is not concerned. He's on vacation in Prague, and I'm like, ugh.
Right. Well, actually, I'm really glad you bring that up because that's where we're at with a lot of people right now. I feel like every time a transaction has come up recently, the one we're working on, the client's in Bora Bora right now. And so it is what it is. Like, we do what we have to do. We do what we can. But I will say this, and I think you've probably heard me say this before. I say it a lot. I can never let my commitment outweigh yours. Right.
You know
And
what
it works for every relationship, whether it be client, client agent, or whether it be broker to agent, or whether it be boyfriend to boyfriend or boyfriend to girlfriend. It works. I can never let my commitment outweigh yours. And so you can only do what you can do, but it is important for us to get really good at those scripts about reminding a client why they want to do this. And it's never about why we want them to. It's about making sure we had the conversation up front to ask why they wanted to do it. So if I could ask, what is the reason he wants to sell those listings?
They moved to Texas, and he thinks our price at 585 is low, and I'm like, well, it was on point, but now it's a little high.
Have you shown him the comps?
No, he doesn't even want to. He doesn't respect me enough, and that was my fault. I took someone on my. I'm not going to go into that.
Okay.
So what I learned from this is I need to have multiple things in my pipeline. I'm switching to buyers, and I've done that before, and historically for me that has not worked. I'm a listing agent, but yeah.
So why don't you and I do a coaching session on that later? Because I want you to be careful. You're really good at what you do. And I know you may want to switch things up and round yourself out, but don't stray too far away from what you're really great at, because you are great at it. And I've seen agents switch from a buyer's agent to a listing agent and go completely gray in like a matter of a year. So let's have a coaching session on that later. But I do want to, I want to get back to the conversation about your seller, is that, putting some of those numbers in front of them, even if it's just in an email where you just include the screenshot of what you see, what you have on your screen, or of the CMA, so they don't even necessarily have to open an attachment. Just include that piece of it and show them what's happening in their own neighborhood. And, here's the average days on market for the closed properties, and here's where they're selling. And then include, like, set up send them a collection like you would through our MLS, where you send him the list of properties so he can actually go through and click and see them. I've found that really helps sellers get into the mindset of, like, it's almost like they get in the map now, like they're looking at the other homes that are in their competition, and it can help them come to reality on where they need to be. If they don't, then it may tell you a little bit about the motivation, and maybe the motivation's not exactly what they said it is. And that's okay. That does happen. Sometimes we will find, it happens a lot. Think about it in the dating world. Somebody says that they're looking for something and they're not, they're looking for something else. And that's okay. It's really our job to figure it out. And the better we are at that, the more deals we'll be able to close, and the faster we'll be able to retire.
I think the solution for me is to put that one on the back burner and start finding something else.
Sure, absolutely. Or, you know what, Eric, refer it to someone else. Refer it to another agent who you think might, like, if you, and this is because this has happened, like, let's just be real about it. I've had situations, I can think of my very first listing in Old Las Palmas, where every time I turned around, they asked me what I thought Louise Hampton would say. And I remember that feeling. So I think in that case, what I did at the end of my listing term was I called Steve Hannigan, who's one of Louise Hampton's agents.
Nice guy. Yeah.
And I called him and said, hey, I have an appointment set up for you. And I sent over my referral agreement so he could sign it before he went over, and I took a referral on it. I already knew I had lost their confidence in me, or that they'd never had it. They really should have listed with Louise Hampton in the first place. The reason they listed with me is because I ran the on-site sales office where they wanted to buy their next house. So they gave me the listing because we were going to do both of it for them. And so both of them for them. And so the same thing has happened to me before. It's not the end of the world. You're right. Sometimes it's best to just go move on to the next if you already feel like it's too tarnished, but see what you can do to refer it to another agent and just pick up a referral on it. There's a
I think
way
that's
to
the best
leverage
advice.
that. And if you want to chat about that more, I'm happy to do that later today too.
Okay.
Awesome.
Well, let's do that next week. I'm
Yeah,
gonna go
sure.
into the Palm Springs office later today and
Awesome.
see work from there.
Perfect. That sounds good. We'll chat about it next week. But guys, these are exactly the kind of conversations I'm talking about. This is the stuff. I'm really glad you were on the call today, Eric, because this is the kind of stuff I want to talk about. I want us to share with each other the challenges that we're having so that we can get through them with one another. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so we can kind of all see each other's faces again. I know that we do have a challenge coming up. So I don't want it to seem like I'm glazing the donut, because there is a potential that there are some agents that are going to get out of the business because they don't understand what a normal market is, and they've only worked in this really easy market or this fast market that we've had the last few years. I won't call it easy. It's been fast. And so, Josh always talks about not being the fair weather agent. We're here for the long run, and those scripts and dialogues and the ability that you have to keep deals together. I used to say a long time ago, every deal falls apart 15 times before it comes together, but it just feels like it's falling apart until you know what to do. Yesterday, when we got the email that said short-term vacation rentals weren't allowed, and this is all the client has been looking for, the only reason she made the offer was because they were allowed in this neighborhood, and we get the HOA document that says that it's not. We all thought the deal was done, thought it was finished, but we crafted an email to the client because she's not here, so we couldn't have a conversation, which always frustrates us. We want to be able to have that face-to-face or that phone conversation to be able to work through it together so you get the agreement right then and there. And instead, we had to craft an email to send to the client, and we walked her through what the steps were without being too overly detailed, because she's reading it and we know she's on vacation, and we got the agreement to move forward. It worked. We were able to just walk her through what she was able to do with the property and how she could rent it, and in fact it ended up working for her. And so that conversation ended up happening, I think, at 6:30 last night. By the time we were done, I thought it was 9 o'clock at night and was ready to go to bed, but I think we finished it by 6:30 last night and we're able to continue moving forward with it this morning. And so I know that the next little bit's not going to be easy. I know that there are going to be challenges ahead. I know that you guys are going to have difficult conversations you haven't had to have in a while. And I think that's the most important part, is that we just want to remind you that we're all here to help. When you guys have a challenge, I want to know what it is. I'm going to roll up my sleeves and get in the trenches with you, and we're going to go to battle and figure it out, just like Portia and I did on this deal together. So, that's really all. I just want to make sure we share with you guys that we're here. I'm still available for business plan meetings. I know Josh is still available for or will be available. He's not in the office, but you could do a Zoom meeting with him now, but he will be available for marketing meetings. For anybody that's looking to do Christmas stuff, you should have already met with him, but if you still need to do something, let us know and we'll see what we can do to make it happen for you. Eric, go ahead. You want to I see you raised your hand. Feel free.
I have a question for Portia.
Sure.
Portia is our vacation rental, long-term rental lady. Much respect to Portia. I love Portia.
Thank you.
Where are we at with the long-term rental? And I know that's not all you. That's also, you're working with Ben and Josh and John and geez, there's a lot of people that are working to try to put that together. The reason I'm asking is because I have a lease listing that could be managed by potentially a desert lifestyle vacation. They're not ready yet either. They're still putting in some laundry and fixing some floor. They'll be ready in about 2 weeks, but I would like to get that under contract so I could list it as soon as possible. So my question to you, Portia, is how's that going? What's going on?
I'm meeting with Benjamin next week. So right now we have all the details for the flyer and what we're going to offer to the owners, but we haven't printed it out yet. So I'm meeting with Benjamin. We have the skeleton of everything that we want to offer with pricing and everything, but we just need one more meeting. and it's next week.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, perfect. That's gonna time up perfect with what I need. He's not ready yet, like I said. I'm just trying to gauge, you know, and and also leverage for you. You can also tell them, hey, I have something potentially with Eric that we could put in for long term, and just we're all a team and we all work together, and no pressure.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, and Portia, I'm
Thank
sorry,
you.
when I introduced everybody earlier, I'm like, I didn't think the vacation rental piece. Do you have anything else you want to share with us, or is there anything else coming up that we need to know about?
Um,
Other than your meeting you're having with Ben next week?
no, I don't think so. I will have the new website up next week, going live for the vacation rental side. It's going to be completely interactive for the homeowners, for guests. There'll be a guest portal, an owner portal. We'll have I'm working on all the accounting in the background, but yeah, it's going to be great. It's just a lot of work right now.
Yeah, and I'm gonna
That's
say,
okay. That's exciting.
yeah, I'm
Thank
gonna
you for
say that
pitching
too.
that to them.
We've got some big things we've been doing in the background to make things better for you guys. We're switching to a new accounting system that's going to streamline a lot of stuff for all of us. That'll help with reporting and things like that. And Rose and John have been working on that, and even Ben has been working on that. We've almost got the Yucca Valley office, the Cam and Sean team office open, and that's been happening in the background. We've got Portia has been killing herself on working on this, and I mean she's doing an amazing job with it, but there's just so much work that goes into it. So we are really all looking forward to 2023. I think the last few years have been so difficult. I think we can agree all the snowflakes have melted. We don't have to use that term anymore. I don't think there's any left anymore. We've all gotten a little hardened by the last few years, and I know there's going to be some more challenges coming up, but we're all in it together and we're all here to help. I know we've got some amazing support through pretty much everybody that's on this call. We all definitely work together, but that includes everyone even that's not on the call. I still have lots of time available for business planning if you guys want to sit down and do that. We've got lots of appointments available through the end of the year, and I will be here up until the week in between Christmas and New Year's. I will be out that week. And so I think I get to take a couple days off there just to recuperate from the last few months. Yeah, because it's been crazy over here too. So we'll if you guys have any needs or there's anything that we can do for you, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'll get you in touch with the right person or get you on in an appointment with the right person. I hope you all have a wonderful, happy holiday season. It's been I know it's like I said, it's been an interesting year, but if there's anything we can do to help you with any polishing points that you have or anything that you need in your business, whether it be presentation or scripts or whatever it is, we're here for it. Bring me what you got and let's come up with a solution for it. All right, you guys have a lovely weekend, a lovely Friday, lovely weekend, and a great rest of the year. I'll talk to y'all soon.
Thank you for your hard work, ladies.
Thank you, guys.
Merry Christmas.
You too.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye,
Merry
guys.
Christmas. Bye-bye.
Bye.